Good morning. Today I'm going to show you the quick process. Well, I don't know how quick it is, but at any rate, the process I go through to design and cut out a box. So this will actually be in several installments. So the first thing, I have VCarve Desktop opened up here. I'm going to start a new file. Now this file, first of all, I want it to be double-sided because there's going to be two sheets. There's going to be a box and a lid, and each piece, at least the lid, is carved on the top and on the bottom. The box is only carved on the top. At any rate, it's going to be double-sided. On this one, I'm going to make the piece of wood 7.5 by 7.5 by 1 inch thick. That's both pieces for right now. I'm going to do it in inches. I'm going to put the datum, the zero position, on the material surface. The datum position, I always like to use this lower left-hand corner. And when I flip the piece, I'm going to flip it in this direction as opposed to that direction. Just got the resolution set to high. Material settings, I'm going to put this on walnut because that's the wood this is going to be made out of, and that'll help. And I'll just click OK. There's my piece of wood. Now the first thing I want to do is rename and add sheet. Sheet 1, I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call it lid. And then I'm going to add a sheet, and I'm going to rename it box. There we go. So the current one that I'm working on is lid, and we'll go over to drawing. The first thing I'm going to do is draw a rectangle. On the rectangle, I want to start it or position it right in the middle. So according to this you see here, the middle is 375 and 375. Since this type of thing is the last thing I did here, it's already set for 375, 375 as far as the anchor point. My size, I'm going to make this 5 inches wide, 7.5 inches tall, and it's going to have square corners. I'll determine the radius later. Either it'll be 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch, something like that. So I can determine and put that in later. So we'll create this rectangle, and there it is. Okay, now this rectangle is going to be used where I have it, which is probably going to be the top of the lid. It's also going to be used on the bottom of the lid, the underside, and it's also going to be used on the top side of the main part of the box. So what we will do is click on it. You notice it's now highlighted, and I'm going to copy this. First of all, I'm going to copy it to a sheet. Copy to sheet box, and you'll notice it appeared over here. Then I'm going to do that again, and copy it to the other side. So now when I flip to the other side, you'll see I've got my box there. This is the underside, this is the top side. You can see that indication, the arrow on the top. That's what I'm going to use for the top side. Now it's arbitrary. I could use this as the top or the bottom. It really doesn't matter. I like to keep this in the top, and when I flip it, now the arrow is underneath here, and also you notice these changed colors. The rulers changed colors. At any rate, so this will be the bottom side. So the first thing I'm going to do is lay out the bottom side. This is the outer perimeter of what my box is going to be. What I'm going to do now is offset this rectangle inwards by 1/4 of an inch. That way it'll start forming the lip of the lid that'll fit over a corresponding lip on the box part. So right here is the offset command. Hit offset. I'm going to go inwards. I'm going to offset it by 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to keep all this just the way it is. I'll go ahead and offset it. There you have that offset. Alright, now I want to go ahead and fillet these corners, or put a round edge on them. this right here is the tool that will do that. And I'm going to make these 1/8 of an inch. I could go 1/4 of an inch, and actually I think in this box I will. So I'm going to do .25. Everything else I like the way they are. It's just going to be a normal fillet. I don't want to make any dog bones or any fun stuff like that. So with that there, I can just go around and fillet these corners. And I'm just doing the inside edge. The inside box rather. Because this outside box, when it's cut out, will be sharp. It's not going to be filleted. And I'm going to go ahead and close this. Now these two rectangles, since I'm on the underside here, I'm going to take and highlight both of these rectangles. I want to copy this over to the top of the box section. So I'm just going to put copy, and then under sheets I'll make the box active, and I'll make sure I'm on the top side of the box, and then just go down here and do paste. And what I will do is make sure that that is in the center of the workpiece, and it is. So that's good. And we will get back to this in a little bit. For right now, we'll go back to the sheet, or to the lid rather, excuse me, which is here. And we'll go back to the underside. Okay, I'm going to want to hollow this out a little bit, the underside of the lid. But we'll discuss exactly how much later. I don't know how much. But I'm going to set up a little area where I can make my tool path later on. The first thing I want to do is go in here, and I'm going to offset this. I'm going to offset it inwards by another 1/4 of an inch. And that's exactly what I want. Nice straight corners. Because when I hollow this out, you'll see what happens, what I have in mind when I get to that point. What I want to do is start designing the top part of the lid. So we're going to go to view the top. And one of the things I'm going to do is shut off the box part, because right now it's going to be just a little kind of in the way. So I'll go to sheets and take off the box. See how nicely it disappears. Now I want to set up on here on the top exactly the design I want for the lid. Now the first thing I want to do is decide on the strategy I'm going to use for this. So if we just pop over to the tool path section over here, of all my tool paths, the one I think I'm going to use is the molding tool path. Now this is a kind of a neat little tool path, and I'm going to show you here how I use it. The only thing about it that's kind of a pain in the butt is that you can't set the number or the depth of passes when you do this. When you draw out your profile for the molding, it's going to cut it all the way as deep as it is in one fell swoop. So if I make this molding, say, cut a 1/2 inch deep, it's going to try to send my bit through a 1/2 inch. So what I do is, excuse me, the method I've developed is to kind of stage it down. So we're going to show you how that works. Come over here to the drawing again. And the first thing I want to do is determine exactly where I want the parameters of this profile to be. So I'm going to draw some lines down here. And the first thing, I want the outside of the box. I'll just draw a line down at an arbitrary length on each side of that. Then I'm going to draw a line from the inside here, because that's probably the outside parameter that I'm going to use. And just in case I want to do it at a later date, I'll also take where the lid for the lid is. Now I'm going to draw a line across this thing, and now what I need to do is, since my wood is an inch thick, I'm going to offset this by 1 inch. I'm going to offset it, should be outwards, I think. Make this 1 inch. Close this. I'm going to get rid of this vector here. It's gone. Now this is the area that I have to draw my profile in. Now inside of here, I'm going to put a flat piece that I don't want profile. Alright, now on this lid, I'm going to have a flat spot. Now the profile that'll go around it is going to be curved in any various way, and I don't know exactly how yet, but it will be kind of a curvy thing. But in the middle, I want to have a flat spot where I'm going to end up putting a raised cross in there. So it's going to be another rectangle, and I want to put it in the center, but this time I'm going to cut down its size a little bit. I'm going to go with a height of about, let's call it 5 inches for this flat, and the inside we'll call it 3 inches. We'll create that, and this is going to not be profiled. Close this, and we're going to make some more lines that will be kind of construction type lines here. Like so. Now then, I want to make this box or the profile go down to about halfway of the thickness of the lid. So I'm going to draw a line at the halfway point. You notice how convenient that is right there. It puts, actually what I think I can do is just offset this by 0.5 of an inch. And this one. Now there's my halfway mark. Now everything I draw on a profile will be drawn from this point to anywhere around this point here. This will be flat. So let's zoom in and start drawing a little stuff. The first thing I can do is make a little bit of a round over. So if I draw, say, a circle, for example, we'll just stick a circle right in here, and we'll make it, say, I'll give it a radius of, oh, I don't know, let's try 1/4 of an inch. Let's see how that looks. Or let's make that the diameter. And we'll apply that. That's about perfect. It's a little, all right. Now let's move it to more about where we want it, which is going to be right. Should let me cut it. Yep. And we'll get it moved a little more into where I want it to be. If we turn on the snapping now, it might help. Yeah. Alright, that's going to be just fine. Now I want to draw something kind of go between those. I could go, I'm going to use an arc. And let's just say if I start here and make an arc some arbitrary point, if I want this to really stand out as far as being rounded, I could put it down there. I kind of like that. So we're going to go ahead and apply this and close it. I'm going to get out my scissors, and I don't need this. Now this here is the shape that we're going to make a profile of and go around this inner rectangle right here. This here I'm going to edit these vectors. Node edit. So I'm going to bring this one to be a little rounder. Now what I have to be careful of this on this is that I don't have an undercut, because the bit that's going to be coming straight down can't go beneath this line here. So this is going to be just fine. Now what I kind of want to do is close this vector up. So, oops, still node edit. Here we go. I'm going to join those now. There should be one. And that's just exactly what I want.